Welcome back to the channel, and in today's video we're doing a recap and review of The Bachelor season 25 episode 3. So if you're new here, hit the subscribe button. If you like this video, smash that like button, and also drop a comment down in the comment section because I do post notification shout out, and if I see your comment, I'll shout you out. So without further ado, let's jump into this video. So where we left off and continue from the last episode, we saw that Sarah had fainted at the rose ceremony. And, even though there was still about 5 or 6 roses left, the ceremony hadn't completed. Now, Matt is also over helping Sarah, come to her feet. It's definitely an intense moment when it comes to him checking on her, seeing if she's okay. And the only issue with the girls is that they think that she's definitely getting her way, trying to get time with him. And this is something that she exactly wants. Now, I honestly didn't see that way. Let me know what your thoughts are. I actually thought that she passed out. I don't think that she, decided to do a stunt in order to get attention. But in the meantime, Matt was there to console her. And Matt even put his jacket around Sarah and tells her that he, was worried about her. But of course, the thing is that he seems like a very caring guy. He seems very empathic that, anything happened with the girls. And I think he's going to say that later down the road, that he would do the same thing with them. However, the girls have a totally different look at this thing. They return back, to the area where the girls are. And, the ceremony continues. He apologized to the girls, but again, he says that, it's only one of him. And as they continue, it's going to get tougher and tougher. And in the meantime, Victoria is definitely side-eyeing Sarah because she honestly thinks that this girl is being manipulative. And then she also have issues with Marilyn and wants her to go home. So now it's time for Matt to start passing out the remaining roses. And so it looks like it's about, like I said, about 5 or 6 left over. So the first one he gives of the remaining rose goes to Kayla. And then Mari gets a rose. And then after Mari, we got MJ. She gets a rose. And then Anna is the next one up to get a rose. And then we have Kaylee. And then that leaves one last rose. And, of course, they focus the cameras on the fact that you got Victoria and you got Marilyn. And, of course, which I just don't get it with this show sometimes, they give the rose to Victoria. And she has a purpose there. Obviously, he believed in the context of what we see that Victoria was right over Marilyn. And, of course, that sends home a couple of the other girls, including Marilyn. And that's so unfortunate because I actually liked Marilyn. As much as we saw of her, and it was just so unfair that Matt decided to listen to Victoria while she feels so accomplished by what she had done. And even, Marilyn was like, oh, she's a great actor. No, not really. But, of course, Marilyn leaves. And hopefully maybe she'll get to go to Bachelor in Paradise. Or maybe we'll see her as in the future as part of Bachelor Nation. So we'll see. So, of course, he toasted everybody. And, that was pretty much the end of the night. Again, I wasn't feeling the whole thing with Victoria. And even now, her next target is Sarah. She wants her gone. I mean, she wants her out the door. And to me, it's just crazy that, this is how they're going to do this with the show, with Victoria just being that manipulative, even though she's calling everybody else toxic and manipulative. But I'm not going to dwell on that. So now it's the next morning, and Chris comes in to visit the women and tells them that there's going to be 2 group dates and 1 unbelievably romantic one-on-one date. So he leaves the first date card, and it's for Rachel and Bree and Lauren, Kit, Serena C, Victoria, okay, Kayla, Anna, Kaylee, and Katie. And it's entitled, Today is a Surprise for Everyone. And we definitely see that Rachel is really excited because this is her opportunity to get to spend some time with Matt. So all of the girls are excited to, get ready to head over to the group date. And then, of course, Matt welcomes the girls. He say that he's going into this with an open mind. And, everybody looks all excited. They always got them jumping. Either the bachelorette is jumping on the guy she's going out on a date, or the contestants are jumping on the bachelor. It seems like it happens every season. But, yeah, they're really excited about what is going to be with their date and what all of this means. So they actually walk into a room that kind of looks like a bar or a lounge. And there's a woman upstairs reciting verses, it seems like from a book. And come to find out, it is Ashley Iaconetti, and I think I pronounced that correctly, who met her husband Jared on The Bachelor in Paradise back in 2015. And she is reading this intimate passage from a book that she's holding. The crazy thing is that she says that Chris wrote the book called The Love Letter, and it's a love story. But it's on the passionate and erotic side with a lot of sex in it. And what the women are going to be doing today is they're going to write down their own love story with Matt, and then they'll be sharing it with a live studio audience. So the girls seem to be all in for it, but they thought it was some of them were kind of squeamish, but they definitely took the time to write down what they wanted to put together. And so Ashley get to meet with some of the girls just to get an idea of what they had come up with. And some of it seemed pretty good, but when it came down to Victoria, Ashley is definitely shocked on how erotic it is. And Victoria says she have no choice in a group date. She want to make sure she stand out. And she definitely stood out with everything that she says she want to do to him. And I know Ashley was like, whoa, because I know my kids was listening from across the room. And it was like, what is going on? Now, my kids are adults, so they're not young kids. But Ashley definitely thought that you can tell by her facial expressions what she actually felt in regards to Victoria's writing. So actually the studio audience is the remaining girls that wasn't a part of the group date. And so, of course, that was exciting except for one person, which was Sarah. I mean, she didn't take it too well. But, Matt got up there and did his thing with what he had to say. And he started off talking about dropping her purse in the kitchen and all of that good stuff. And so, I was like, okay, we'll see. But then one of the girls that was up first was Anna. They had to go one by one. They all were definitely on the risque side. And I actually thought it was pretty interesting. It looked like Matt was getting kind of embarrassed. He was blushing over there. But I thought it was pretty interesting. I mean, I don't know about some of you guys, whether you felt, ooh, this is on the ABC or whatever. But I didn't have a problem with it. I mean, Rachel did her thing. And then it came to Katie. And when it got to Katie, there was a lot of beeps, bleeping everything. I mean, and some of the girls was like, she must actually read erotica, because, I mean, she was definitely all into it. And the reaction from the girls listening to her, they were flabbergasted. I mean, they were shocked, they were surprised, you know. But it wasn't over yet, because behind Anna was Victoria. And Victoria had more bleeping too. And I mean, Matt looked like he was just so embarrassed. I mean, honestly, everything. And she has no filter. I mean, obviously, ABC had a filter, but she definitely had no filter. I mean, she put it out there. I mean, Chris was saying, man, it's got to be tough, to just let it go like that. But it didn't seem, like it was tough for them. So everybody seemed like they were having a good time. The only person that was really struggling with this was Sarah, because Sarah had this amazing date that we saw last week, her dream date, as she called it, but she didn't like the fact that all of these other women were saying these things about what they would do to him or what they would want him to do to them. And I mean, she took it really hard. She definitely took it really hard. So the girls went back. They definitely had a lot of fun. I mean, so much fun that Katie wants to shout it out. I mean, they had a ball. The only thing is, we still see Sarah struggling. So back over to the other camp where the after party is with the group date. Rachel is definitely having some intimate time. She's been looking forward to it. You can tell by his facial expression that he definitely have interest there. Bree also gets some special time with Matt. Of course, she didn't reveal too much during the challenge, but she felt it was more important to keep intimate details about her and Matt, to a minimum, So it seems that Matt found that very intriguing. So we'll see. So then we have a knock at the door, and it's for Serena P with a date card that say, "Let love lead the way." And Serena feels kind of guilty because she knows everybody was hoping to hear their name, and you can tell by the facial expressions that they were definitely not happy about the fact it wasn't them. Now, with all of this going on, Sarah was not down with the girl. She was actually upstairs. And they didn't really like the fact that, she was separated and that she was dealing with all these emotions. And she was saying how emotionally exhausted she was being and having a hard time with all of this. So she felt triggered because, she's dealt in the past with faithfulness and commitment issues and jealousy, and all of those feelings were coming back. So she decides to go interrupt the group date and talk to Matt while he was on a date with Katie. So, of course, when she tries to interrupt his date for some time, Katie did oblige, but she definitely wasn't happy about this. And then, of course, Matt allowed Sarah to go ahead, and Katie definitely went back to the girls that were on the group date with her and informed them that Sarah was there. And so, of course, Matt is spending time trying to console her and validate her emotions, and she's talking about she don't want to lose the connection. Victoria is like, no, go back in there. This is not the Sarah show. You go back in there and get your time back, because that also take time from us. So, of course, Katie goes back in and say, hey, time's up. And, I think maybe you need to get back to the house. And Sarah was like, give me 2 minutes. And, Matt is just sitting there. That's the only thing and I know they create this scene for drama, but I just thought that was incredibly, she had 5 minutes, time's up. And so Katie gives her more time, and Katie can hear them talking and sharing how they feel. And, Sarah's talking about the emotional aspect of this. And so, of course, Katie's coming back like, okay, time's up. And so Sarah gets him to walk her out. But as he walk her out, they're behind the little divider kissing. And, of course, Katie can hear all of that. And I mean, they actually took the time to do that. She finally went back downstairs to tell the girls why she was there, that she had to talk to her, and it was definitely not receptive by the girls because that took time from them. And on that aspect, I do agree because she had her date. It's their turn for their group date. You know, she interrupted that, and I don't think that was fair to all of the girls because that pushed it all back. So as she get ready to leave, Victoria runs behind her outside to ask her why she did what she did. And of course, you know, she tells her, you know, I'm having a hard time, I'm struggling, you know me, we're friends. And then Victoria was just cold. And then of course Katie shows up and, you know, encourage her to work out whatever's going on, you know, but you know, this is not the right time for this. And you need to figure out how you're going to be able to deal, you know, with your emotions. And you know, they were actually thinking maybe it was her health, but come to find out, you know, it was all about the fact that she was feeling some kind of way and her insecurities were getting in the way. So like I said, I honestly think that this was not the right thing to do at that moment in time. So Matt joins the women, and as he joins the women and let them know, and of course he's ready to give out his rose. He haven't even had time to sit down and talk to all of the girls that were on the group date. And of course you can tell after he gave that rose to Rachel, there was a lot of unhappy faces because they didn't get to spend that time that was taken away by, you know, Katie, and well, not from Katie, but you know, the whole situation with Sarah taking the time away. So they were definitely very disappointed and very unhappy. And that's to be expected. That's to be expected, you know. And they're mad. They're definitely mad. And I mean, we had tears, we had facial expressions. And I mean, if most people in that situation, when you're on a date with about 8 to 10 other people, you're going to want to spend that time. And if somebody comes in and interrupt that, it's just not cool. So the next day, Matt comes over and pick up Serena P. And of course, the conversation switches over to where's Sarah because she's not there. And Serena P is like, okay, here we go. And because Matt is just so overly concerned about the health of everybody there, he wants to figure out what's going on with Sarah. And of course, Serena P is just not happy because now that's cutting into her one-on-one date, which to me, I don't think Matt made a right decision here. I mean, honestly, he needed to go see about her, but the time that it took away from the date he already had scheduled, it makes him a good guy, and there's nothing wrong with that. But at the same time, there's got to be some boundaries set. And if it's something that, you know, he can't handle by himself when he's dealing with Sarah, he needs to get some assistance maybe from somebody to say, hey, you know, what can we do here? But obviously this is meant for the drama because it's making the girls upset. And again, Victoria's saying this is not the Sarah show. But in the meantime, again, she's talking about how she's feeling and how she's struggling with this process. And, you know, she's not happy about the fact and of everything. The girls, of course, they've already have started to give her a hard time. And it's just, and then there's another kiss. So she, you know, and on hindsight, the girls are saying she's getting what she wants, which is all the time in the world. But at the same time, you know, Matt is thinking, you know, he's trying to make sure she's in a good space when it comes to them. All right, so you know, Serena and he leaves to go on their date. Of course, we just saw that Sarah's not happy about that, but Serena P and Matt goes horseback riding, and of course she's hoping for this date to see if they got some compatibility. They share a little bit about their lives. Matt tells her that he's feeling close to her. And it seems like they do have some form of connection. She told a joke, however, and it just seems like I don't know if he didn't get it or he didn't find it funny, but, it's like, okay, well, maybe the connection is lukewarm. I don't know. You guys let me know what you think. But he says that he feels close to her. I tend to look for body language. It's one thing verbal communication, but I also look for nonverbal communication as well to see if there's some physical or some unspoken chemistry between them. And then, of course, he leans in for a kiss, and as he leans in for a kiss, somebody joins them. Or I should say someone. Someone joins them. A little donkey. And they play with him and everything, but I thought that was kind of cute. But of course, the girls are still talking about the fact of what the heck is going on with Sarah. She's been MIA for most of the day, stuck in her room. And at this point, she needs to either come out, but she's afraid to. Because here's the flip side of this thing that I did not like, is that when she tried to talk to the girls, they were mean. I mean, they said they was going to make her stay there, the remaining part, very hard. But we'll get into that in a little bit more. But Serena and, of course, Matt have their date. And they were talking about previous relationships, how their breakups, especially hers, was painful and hard. The last relationship he was in was a year ago. It didn't work out because she wasn't serious. And he admits that he can't ever say that he's ever been in love before or yet. And she says that she was definitely deeply in love with her ex. She also tells Matt that she's falling in like with him and could see herself falling in love with him one day. He pulls out, of course, he's ready to make the decision to give her a rose and tells her that the feeling is mutual. And, they go get ready, before, to get in the hot tub. But I actually think they're kind of cute. I kind of want to see how deep this can actually go with Serena P, because I don't know. I've seen him a better connection with Bree from the last episode, but I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Do you feel that there's some substance with the connection that Matt has with Serena? I mean, she's absolutely gorgeous. I love her smile. And he seems like he's interested, but I don't know if that interest level is as deep as maybe he's had with, a couple of the past dates and even some of the conversation. Because, I mean, there's been some type of chemistry with Rachel, as we've seen as well. So, of course, him and Serena, they go off to jump in the hot tub, and he got his shorts with the turtles on it. Now, that's the same hot tub I think that Bree was in the previous episode. All they did was move it to a different location. So, hey, they're in quarantine. I know this is a bubble. So, they got to do what they got to do. So, I understand. But they kiss it out for the evening. So, now we're back at the house. And, of course, there's a date card that is being dropped off. And Rachel is about to read it, but again, we're missing somebody. And the person that we're missing is Sarah, but she does decide to show up. She comes down, and of course, everybody's shocked, and they're like, oh, look who made an appearance. And before they can really get the date, because I don't even know if they even got the opportunity to talk about it, because I think she put it back in. The girls start accosting Sarah about, the fact that she has been upstairs and, about what happened on the group date from the previous day. And some of the girls are looking at her, telling her, we're going to make your stay, miserable for the rest of the time here. And she said, I tried to talk to you. And they said, no, you never tried to talk to us. And I'm like, yes, she did, but you ran her off. So, I mean, there's two sides to this thing. I don't think Sarah was being manipulative. I do think she's got some insecurities that she's dealing with, her jealousy and things like that, and she wanted to address it. Outside of what Victoria is saying is that she's being manipulative. But I mean, they're really going in hard. She's trying to talk to people. They're not giving her the time of day. And she's at this point is losing it because these women are really being kind of vicious. I understand you didn't get time, but bullying is just not a good idea. So they didn't do the right thing here on this side of the coin, which I didn't like. Now, I will say that Katie took some time to go up and see what was going on with her because, of course, she retreated back to her room. Nobody saw her. And when she was talking to Katie, you know, Sarah told her, you know, it's getting hard. I don't know if I could do this. She started talking about the situation that's going on with her father and, you know, where his health is at this point. Because as we remember, her father has ALS. And then, of course, Katie talks about the fact that she lost her father in 2012 and what that was like. So she kind of came from a place of understanding because at first Katie was one of them that was really giving her a hard time. But Katie turned and actually took the time to figure out, you know, hey, what's up? And that her empathic side came out in this scene. And I'm glad that she was able to do that, you know, and kind of look at what the situation is. And found out it was just more than that. And I'm glad she even talked to the girls to let them know, like, hey, everybody has an experience. She's dealing with stuff with her dad and family. And, of course, Sarah made the decision that she couldn't do this and that she's struggling too much and she's going to go home. And she wants to also make sure that she passed this message and tell Matt in person. But again, I do like the fact that Katie sat down with the girls and informed them that, listen, everybody has a personal life, stuff going on in their life. We don't know everybody's personal experiences. She's not only struggling with this process, but she's struggling with family stuff. So, you know, you guys need to look at that before you know, try to come after people. So I'm glad she was able to turn that around with her communication with her and also stand up for her with those girls. So I really like that in Katie. So she did show up. Sarah did show up at Matt's and tells him that there is a connection and it is amazing, but she's doubting if she could do this process. And she says family is important. Being away from them is weighing on her. And she was attacked by the other women, and she went to apologize and was completely attacked. And that part she is telling the truth on. They were cruel, malicious, and, you know, it was really hard for her. And he's telling her what he feels for her is real, and I want you to stay. Now, I mean, my thing is mental health is important. You and your sanity is important. I understand he wants her to be here, but if she is struggling with all of this and she knows herself better than anybody, she only has met Matt in these past whatever number of days or a couple weeks, she need to do what's best for her. I mean, I think even Katie told her she don't want her to just leave so she could be the default. You need to stay so he can explore this. He's saying the same thing. I need you to stay. No, I'm glad she did what was best for her because mental health is important. Everything that's going on with her father. And a lot of folks I saw on social media was saying, well, you knew your dad was sick when you signed up for the show. But a lot of times people don't know what this entails until you're in it. And being a part of a reality show for some folks is extremely hard. Some folks can get through it. Some folks can't. And especially if they got a lot of stuff going on in their lives. So she decides to take off and go home. And she's struggling because she do really like Matt. And of course, Matt really do like her. So he hates to see her go as well. So we'll see what happened next week. So now I'm going to do my post notification shout out. If you want to be shouted out in one of the recap videos, drop a comment. And the person for this video is Josephine Armstrong. Yes, I agree. Matt and Bree. But thank you for engaging in the channel. And until next time, like, comment, and subscribe. And we will see you soon.